is the very first session of 2026. Here we are once again, start of a new chapter, marking also the end of the chapter. Just like any other day. Since it's nighttime, I have to keep a little quiet, but I had this calling to do this now. In the silence of the night, and when the night is new. Interesting energy. Interesting. Well, I hope you are not having a hard time hearing me out, because I don't have the best mic, and it's funny how silent. Today is New Year's night, and here we celebrate New Year's Eve, and usually it's pretty loud around these times of the year, but this year it is so silent. It's like the whole city's sleeping, strangely, not celebrating. Which is significant energy. Interesting. it's too tall, so probably it's not fitting into the camera's view, but two double both Queen of Wands, which is a lot of energetic, lot of wands, lot of fire, lot of energy, lot of fire. Just only this Ten of Cups. Here I see water energy. Here we have the Eight of Coins, so this is Earth energy. This air, but Seven of Wands, Ace of Wands, Queen of Wands, Five of Wands, Two of Wands, Queen of Wands again, Three of Wands, Justice, the Fool, the Moon, and the fifth chakra. Interesting, yes. This throat chakra is about speech, communication. Wow. I need a minute to sit in this energy. It is abstract because there's too much fire, too much spirit. How come there's too much spirit? But sorry. There has been something that really in your mind got you captive, kept you captive. This thing is a mindset, of course, but also history, narrative. It kept you in a certain shape for far too long. You had loyalty towards this kind of perspective, mindset. today you broke it. I see that here. This certain perspective that you held on so tight for such a long time. I guess it is about clearly expressing yourself. Because here we see the throat chakra. These are right across each other. In a cross relationship, this is 5 of swords, and this is the 5th chakra. There were 5s. 5 is a number of change. A breaking point. Here I see a breaking point in the mind, and this in relation to your 3rd chakra. Therefore, I presume that this is about reflecting yourself, expressing yourself to others. You, when you first started to break this mindset, this idea, you thought this is about others, like the way you express yourself or the way you are not expressing to, yourself to others. Like you versus the outer world kind of relationship. But the more you peel the onion, you realized this isn't about others. Here I see that on the moon. This is a fairly new channel, and I only have, this will be the 3rd. If I post it, if you can hear me, I will post it. 3, the 3rd reading, and the moon card was apparent in one of the other 2 as well. So these days, obviously, there is this energy of the moon apparent, the relationship of the unknown. But here, I exceptionally like this card because I emphasize it on the other reading as well, that here, the man is looking at his shadow, his own reflection, and his reflection is looking back at him, consciously. And they're holding the same wand, which this wand reminds me of the wands in tarot, although this isn't major arcana. This is the spirit, the energy, the fire is in the middle. Both of you are holding it because there is just one source of both you and your shadow's existence, which is significant because the outer world is also your shadow. It is your reflection. The world is like your mirror. Therefore, it is mirroring your own reflection back at you at some point. And of course, the world is conscious, but the root of the source of this consciousness is the same. Hence the wand. Both gaze each other, yet both, although distinct, are coming from the same root. Coming back to here, you thought this was about you and others, but in the end you realize that it is about you. It is from you to you. No. There's no one else there, not really. This simultaneously happened. You deciding to break this limit simultaneously showed you that there is no one else but you in this. Your decision of breaking this habitual perspective set you free. Before you had all these anxiety and fears about how were you perceived by the world. Until you realize that there is no one really looking at you except yourself. I know it's a controversial thing to say, but whoever this reading is for will know exactly what I'm talking about, therefore it will not seem controversial to them. So take what's resonating and leave the rest. This is Seven of Wands on this deck again. Normally, in a classical tarot illustration, we see people, not people, but a man struggling with 7 wands, and it symbolizes a conflict between oneself and the surroundings. We see a struggle there to stand your ground. But here we see a victorious figure holding up his wand, proud, unapologetic, and no obstacles here. There are no more obstacles for you, and there is no reason for you to hide in the shadows of other people's opinions. This, you see, here is reminding me of the sun. We have the moon here. The moon is self-reflective. Although it seems like unknowable, actually it is pretty familiar, I must say. So maybe even that is an illusion. You see, you enlightened your own shadow. is the sun in the darkness. I wanted to say this simultaneously as I was trying to figure out my own words there. Here we have a horse, but it reminded me of the legend of was it a horse? It must be because I mean it's about the sun, right? Because horse symbolizes the high mind. It's a different kind of mythology. It's Isis' child, but this one I've been thinking about was the legend that where in ancient Egypt, every night Ra had to, on his ship, sail in the Nile and boat, maybe not ship. She was super, sorry. The energy is so flowy. Anyways, this boat and Ra on it, sailing in the Nile every night, he had to fight the serpent god, the snake, Apep. And in order for the sun to rise each day, every night, Ra had to beat the snake to his will so that the sun could shine next morning. I was looking at the sun and this person, and that myth I envisioned all of a sudden. So the moon, the darkness, the unknown, and inside the moon, a shift of perspective on how to engage the world, enlighten your perspective about the world to start with. And you stumbling upon your own self-reflection there, suddenly realizing that there's no one else but your own history to battle with. And there's no one else to really judge you. Here we have justice also. Suddenly when I was saying talking about judgment, we have justice here. So you are beating that snake in the night, the snake of illusion, the illusion of unknownness, not knowingness, something like that. But you know what I mean. You realize even that is an illusion. Therefore, you discover the sun inside the darkness, ever so bright, coming here as you meet the boss, the dragon, the serpent. Your energy presents itself as the Queen of Wands here. On a materialistic level, you might seem as the Fool, like Fool is sacred, but not everyone can recognize that. Fool is a fool after all, Fool is the archetype that gets by on this world by purely playing. No one takes Fool seriously, not really. Visibly. But the Fool is the purest and most courageous form a human being can take. So you are the Fool on the outside and inside at some point, yes, of course, but here, behind it, there is an unseen reality, and that is that although to a generic person that you come across, you seem as a fool, behind it there is a hidden gem, a fire within you that is incomprehensible. Utterly creative, powerful. And all these years, the reason you try to hide your communicative skills, you hesitated on truly expressing yourself, is because you knew inside that you are this Queen of Wands, and you realized that the world could not possibly welcome this kind of energy. Therefore you felt like as if you need to hide some of yourself from the rest of the world so that you could keep safe. But you are unable to do that any longer. You cannot take that idea, therefore, at a very early age, you convinced yourself that it is safer and better for you to hide in the shadows, not showing the full spectrum of who you are. You sold yourself the idea, and it got you this far. It worked this far. You downplayed yourself constantly. Suffered. Acted like you were incapable of beating the monster, although you were more than capable. The monster, the snake, the night in the night. You were the sun, but you acted like you are not, and as if the snake is more powerful than you, yet you have the power of 1,000 suns burning, but you acted as if you've got nothing but darkness, no light. Here we have Eight of Pentacles as a bridge energy between the Queen of Wands and the Fool. I'll get back to that, but I have an idea. stage. It's 3 fives. We have 7, 9. Oh, sorry, this is 9 of Pentacles. Oh my god. Beautiful. Now it sits better with me. So there's another 9 and the 9. Let me see. 2, 1, 3, 8, 1. This is your wealth, your current wealth, but as in not materially in the sense, but more mental. Actually, it seems material, I know, but this is your narrative. This is the library you brought up with yourself. All your conditionings, all your stories, all your pains, anything that you could think of that put you in a certain shape of a character, a concept, is here. The way you got used to seeing yourself, this is. And you let it all go, because you realize that it holds no value but to restrain yourself once again, but in a deeper sense. All this time you trying to divert yourself from being completely honest in your expression is ridiculous. You realize it's actually a ridiculous idea. Who's the judge? Who decides? Have you ever seen a person that, how to say, no one is I mean, there's a certain seeming hierarchy in the world. We all know that. People come to positions, fill those positions, and those positions give them certain levels of authority, of judgment. But this is on the surface level. Material level, perhaps there are hierarchies in the society for sure. We respect those placements to play our part better, but in your case, this isn't a balanced. This was what you are right now letting go of is not a balanced state of self-fullness and selflessness, so that your placement in the society is just you deliberately, without really realizing what is going on here, gave your own authority to other people, gave them the authorship to judge you, and then realized that their judgment is poor and therefore you're first, just because you never thought that you could actually rebel out the whole system of this certain perspective. Instead of doing that, you found the solution in hiding yourself from their judgment. You never realized that you are your own author, therefore you are your own judge, therefore there's nothing to hide. but simply not giving them the authority to judge you according to their own laws, because you make your own laws. Anybody can make their own laws. Of course, it is important to be collaborative with the social structure, no wonder, but you can still be complementary to society, but still be your own man, your own judge, your own woman. This doesn't stop that. And the strategy of hiding yourself instead of taking that authority into your hands and hiding in the shadows was a ridiculous idea. And clearly, the only reason that you thought that that's more logical than the authority, taking the authority, is because, again, conditioning. Someone intentionally, starting from very early age, conditioned you that they are somewhat more reliable or capable to be in authority of your own judgment than yourself. But this kept on going for a long while, with different people as well, not just your family, but also other people. As well. You never questioned it. You need to make a choice. No, you're not deliberately. There is a new road up ahead. You've already started it, for sure. You are your own man now. This required constant change, and the last one was very bitter. You were walking on a thin rope, and it was hard to keep in balance in such chaotic state. You needed to make a choice between black and white. The duality was so apparent in your situationship, and you needed to choose. You either were to choose either between two different people or you versus someone else, or both simultaneously, which makes it even harder. Well, you choose yourself. Here, this Queen of Wands is about that. You choose yourself, because you realize the key to your own happiness, your own fulfillment in your emotions. Your emotional fulfillment relied only upon yourself. But no one else. There is no other judge that who is better on your own behalf but you. And this was hard for you to recognize because you actually forgot how you were, how you looked like, let's say how you reflected in the mirror maybe. You needed to remember, and remembering part was long and not so easy. Your energy is very still. Which is good. We have the Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. Okay, so I was asking about the Three of Wands is a process. It is a certain kind of initiation, so I was wondering where in the Three of what, like the Three of Wands in regards to what we see justice here. So we had the wish fulfillment card, the Nine of Cups. So your wish is initiating currently, and this wish of yours is about justice. Energetically, not, it's more like spiritually being just, like how do I have, what's the word? Princess of Coins. The only reason that you had this kind of conditioning and you trapped your own self in the shadows is because you somehow believe that the world would never ever understand or relate to people like you. Because the world is a foul place. The people who hold the strings of justice in their hands usually have bad motives, and you are in distrust towards such power dynamics. Therefore, humanity and the earth. But it was kind of easier at some point to tolerate this injustice when you completely were amnesiac about your truth. When you've forgotten about it, it was easier to downplay yourself. But as you open your eyes to your truth, your desire to justice and freedom became uncontrollable, so to speak. We have two aces, right? Ace of Wands and Ace of Pentacles. This energy is also apparent in multiple readings, just like the moon energy. As of now, you have no history, you have no depth. Therefore, your fortune has shifted. This year is a complete new beginning to you in your communication and expression skills regarding whatever you focus on. It could be, I don't know, works of art, creating art, that kind of connection with the universe, or, I don't know, maybe tarot, like these kind of spiritual communication, or any kind of back and forth relationship, inside, outside, beyond, will be heightened, especially the first 2 months of this year, because you are no longer carrying the burden. There are no more, here the man is barely capable of walking. And I also see some shadowy figures here. These figures are specifically in this reading, are your ghosts that you carried along, and those ghosts slowed you down. Now there are no ghosts. It's just you and the source. Therefore, the communication does not delay like it's used to. It's much more clear. So it will be very easy for you to, compared to the other past years, to track the signs. What about this wish? What about this wish? Let's see. Guys, by the way, I'm going to be repeating myself on this one, that this deck that I'm using is with me for over 15 years, and I don't have the name of it anymore, so I won't be able to put this one into the description box. The Chariot. I see. The Chariot. We also saw the Chariot on other readings too. It is very apparent these days. It's still a great energy. We have the King of Cups. is Ten of Cups, doubled. This is your Ten of Cups, your wish fulfillment, what your heart's desire is. Intense. I'll edit it just so you are not getting too distracted. Maybe crop a few spaces. Two of Cups. Love, love, love. Heavy energy. Whatever, I mean whoever this is, your connection is divine. Judgment. It is divine. Maybe for a few people this might be about another person, but my intuition tells me that this is no relationship with another person. Candles flickering just as I'm saying it. This is divine. The Chariot, I mentioned in my earlier reading too, reminds me of this Persian god. The non-materialized version of depiction of God, godliness, existence, the great lover, maybe. This, you, Trinity, three on the 3D, you are alive on this earth and you have this urge to unite with if you had this hole in your heart, you suffered, felt alone, you needed to be found. By who? Do you seek other people, friends, lovers? None could help you. Here we have the lovers. I take this as confirmation also. But none could do. No one could do. Nobody else could fill such spot. You realized it. This is very intense energy, especially I didn't expect it to be all over the place like this. And I see very significant self-reflection and the divine intervention here. Follow the signs, do not doubt. There is no doubt. If you doubt, you would miss your fortune. If you will walk this path, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, there is no place for doubting in such trails. So, know thyself. Know where your heart lies. And be loyal to it. And let the chariot carry you. Well, this really was not what I have been expecting, but this is what appeared. So thank you for sharing this night with me, and Happy New Year on this very first day of 2026, and love you all, and see you soon.